I'm going to take over. First of all, hello everyone. Actually, maybe a good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depends upon where you are. And this is Roger Chen, and I'm a professor from University of San Francisco. Thank you for joining our executive panel on Southeast Asia unicorn strategies. And we are very pleased to have this group of very distinguished executive speakers joining us, and to hear their, diverse views about their business and also unicorns and innovation entrepreneurship activities in Southeast Asia. So in this panel, we will first invite each speaker to give a 10 to 11 minute presentation. And after each presentation, if we do have some kind of a short question, we may allow one or two quick questions after each presentation. So after all 5 speakers present their material, then we will move on to the question and answer section. And if you got some quick question or want to ask a question, you can also type your question at the Q&A kind of a channel. So with this arrangement, our first presenter actually is Mitch. Is Mitch here? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, Mitch, great to see you. Okay. So the first presenter is Mitch, who is the Chief Product Officer from Maya, Philippines, and actually Mitch has worked at Yahoo, ABS, CBN Broadcasting, had a very extensive working experience. So maybe without kind of further ado, Mitch, would you please take over and start your presentation?
Sure, thanks, Roger. Let me see if the presentation is up.
Yeah, looks very nice.
All right, thanks. So hello, everyone. So I'm Mitch. I'm the Group Chief Product Officer for Maya. So the only integrated and most comprehensive digital financial services company in the Philippines today. So it's great to be here with all of you and be able to show how exciting it is to actually be doing business in the Philippines. I know I only have a few minutes, so let me try to actually encapsulate everything with the time. All right, so the Philippines, it's a market full of opportunity, especially in the fintech space. So for one, domestic consumption is rising. The economy is estimated to grow further over the next 5 years with digital at the forefront. In the recent report by Google, Temasek, and Bain, e-commerce will drive the Philippine digital economy, growing 22 billion by 2025. Again, who's driving the growth? It's the young and tech-savvy Filipinos who are very receptive to fintech and digital. On the next slide, here you see that at the same time, the fintech industry has an abundant room for growth, especially when it can address the fragmented financial system that we have today. So on the consumer side, the share of Filipino adults with a financial account has grown from 29% in 2019 to 56% in 2021. And again, growing to 70%. That's the target by the BSP by 2025. The growth is mainly due to e-wallets, especially during the pandemic. However, majority of Filipinos, unfortunately, have less access to more progressive financial services such as savings and credit. On the micro, small, and medium enterprise side, we see a significant credit gap due to structural limitations such as limited coverage of credit information systems, delayed rollout of the national ID system, limited infrastructure outside of urban centers, and our archaic system and technologies of traditional banks. However, on progressive regulation, the good news is, this fragmentation is already being addressed by the country's progressive sort of regulations out there, right? So one, the government is pushing for digitization. On the financial system side, policies are in place, like the National Retail Payment System, Digital Banking Framework. They launched the Virtual Asset Currency Provider, an interoperable QR system for payments, and just recently, the Open Finance Framework. So, with the growing consumer preference for an all-in-one digital experience, combined with progressive policies, we at Maya saw the opportunity to address the fragmented financial system by really integrating a digital banking with our existing payment system. So we moved quickly to gain a digital banking license early this year with Maya Bank. And then in April this year, we launched Maya as the all-in-one money platform for both consumers and enterprises. The vision was really to build relevant, inclusive, like next generation financial services and products that could unlock in a very big way the full potential of the Philippine digital economy. And we are making this happen by transforming how money works for Filipinos. We want them to grow and master their money so that they can make bolder choices for themselves. So this approach has made Maya the most comprehensive digital financial services platform here in the Philippines, giving users the ability to save, spend, borrow, and invest with our all-in-one money app for consumers, also having the largest merchant acquiring business, processing over 44% of all card transactions, whether that's online or face-to-face. We also have the biggest on-ground MSME network, and now the fastest growing digital bank. We serve all segments of consumers and enterprises, and we have overhauled how Filipinos access and experience financial services through our unique value. So first, Maya is purely digital, and we are mobile first. Second, we provide integrated financial services. So we've combined our e-wallet with banking capabilities, allowing everyone to have a savings account, get access to credit, instantly pay, invest in crypto, get insurance, and more in just one platform. Third, we bank on our end-to-end ecosystem. So we tap on our big base of consumers, merchants, and our on-ground agent network. So we've been able to transform our business with the strong backing of globally renowned shareholders such as KKR, Tencent, IFC, EDBI, First Pacific, PLDT, and SIG. And our full suite of licenses and certifications. Now, because of these capabilities, our brand has gained the trust and confidence of our shareholders, making us a unicorn early this year. We've raised a total of about $710 million already to date. So just to give you guys an idea of the consumer product shown here. So the top-rated e-wallet app has transformed and evolved to a powerhouse all-in-one money app called Maya. We combined the popular e-wallet with new features like crypto and an innovative digital banking experience powered by Maya Bank. This allows our customers, again, to spend, save, grow, and invest and master their money using their smartphone. So we've provided a truly seamless consumer experience for Filipinos. The Maya app has the following, right? So Maya Savings, which is a high-yielding savings account. Today, we give out 6% interest rate, one of the highest for this product. We have innovated on consumer savings as well with personal goals, where consumers can compartmentalize and manage their savings, up to 5 goals. We also rolled out transactional banking, where consumers can keep their 6% whenever they do transactions such as paying merchants or bills using the app. Maya Credit. It's a virtual credit line that lets consumers borrow up to 15,000 pesos or about $300 within the app. This credit line can be accessed in as fast as seconds for eligible users. Maya Crypto is the easiest way to start our consumers on their crypto journey for as low as 1 peso or 20 cents, 20 US cents, giving our users the ability to buy, hold, and sell different crypto coins. And then the Maya Wallet, which continues to have all of the e-wallet features that had made Maya the top-rated local finance app. Consumers can enjoy free cash in with over 90,000 touch points nationwide and do payments with pretty much every merchant in the country. So aside from consumers, we also enable all types of businesses to grow their businesses with B2B payments, payment acceptance, whether online or face-to-face, and giving these enterprises money management solutions as well. So we connect our partners to the wider Maya ecosystem and let them tap into a new market that uses Maya or other payment methods to shop online and in-store every day. We also provide our partners a keen edge in revenue growth and secure and progressive banking products such as business deposit accounts and MSME credit. On the offline population, we are bridging this with digital through our agent network, through what we call our Maya centers on the ground. Our agents bring a convenient and least expensive way to cash in or cash out to their Maya account or any financial institution. You can think of them as our bank branches. Our agents also facilitate transactions such as remittances, selling of prepaid airtime for telco or cable, and over-the-counter bills payment. So I guess in summary, the Philippines is truly, at its inflection point of widening financial inclusion. Consumers are now ready and hungry for more progressive and integrated digital financial services. Fintechs like Maya are super focused on addressing global issues such as financial inclusion through digitization. So Roger, that's pretty much it. I mean, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, thank you, actually, Mitchell. That's very, very interesting and a deep dive into your industry in the Philippines. Actually, I'm curious, anybody have any question from audience? Like, I didn't see anything from Q&A, but that's okay. If there's no question, we can always wait till the very last general Q&A section if we have a question for any speaker. Okay, so again, thank you, Mitch. So our next speaker actually is Rob Schimek, CEO of Bolttech from Singapore, another very large actually insurance company, which is part of the Pacific Century Group, right? So Rob had a very, very extensive executive experience holding several key positions at AIG. So, Rob, please actually take over and tell your side of the story.
Hi, Roger, and thank you very much for having me. It's very nice to get a chance to catch up with everyone. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to introduce you to Bolttech. Bolttech is an international insurtech. We're headquartered in Singapore, which is where I am sitting at this very moment. And we're on a mission to build the world's leading technology-enabled ecosystem for protection and insurance. I'll explain that in a few moments. Currently, we operate in 30 markets across 3 continents. We are in North America, Europe, and Asia. Before I begin with a lot of words, I thought I might introduce you via a quick video. So can I cue the video now, please?
Hey, James, actually, the audio is not very good. Oh, actually, Rob, I'm not sure if the audio has any kind of issue. If you want to, maybe also kind of add a little bit of explanation to the video.
Yeah, That's what I'm going to do. So the audio is just music, so no one missed
Oh.
any words. So I'm going to provide those words for you first. And so again, what a real pleasure for me to have the opportunity to explain Voltec to you. I think what I would say to you, first of all, is when you hear about insurtechs these days, you really can't hear about an insurtech without being coupled with the phrase embedded insurance. And I can tell you that for sure, Voltec is one of the world's largest participants in the embedded insurance space. But we do much more than simply embedded insurance. Actually, at the center of Voltec's business is our technology-enabled global insurance exchange. So it's a bit like a stock exchange, except instead of exchanging stocks between buyers and sellers, we're exchanging insurance between buyers and sellers. So we power the connection between insurers, distributors, and customers, all with technology. And what we're doing is we're just making the buying and selling of insurance just easier and more convenient. Now, globally, our insurance exchange today connects over 800 different distribution partners with more than 200 different insurance providers, and we offer over 6,000 different ways on 3 continents for people to buy insurance. We now quote, in the last 12 rolling months of activity, $50 billion of premium through our technology-enabled insurance exchange, which makes us the largest such exchange in the world. Now, last year, we achieved unicorn status. We're a baby. We were only born in 2020, but by 2021, we had achieved unicorn status. And we had the largest Series A fundraising round in the history of the world for an insurtech, with just under $250 million worth of capital raised. We're really proud that we were able to attract such great investors as Activant Capital in the US, Alma Mundi InsurTech, who is a venture capital fund in Europe, the EDBI here in my home country these days of Singapore, and many others. So we're so proud of the caliber investors that came into our Series A. And it's their investment that enables us to invest in the technology and the licenses and the people and the capability that it takes to run the world's largest technology-enabled insurance exchange. Now, just a few weeks ago, for anyone who has been following Voltec at all in the news, we've had a pretty interesting run in about the last month. Just a few weeks ago, we announced our successful Series B funding round, where we had locked in our lead investors, which include Tokio Marine, the Japan-based global insurance holding company, as our lead investor. And we're really proud to say that that was an up round valuation in a world that is struggling to see insurtechs retain their value here beyond their Series A fundraising round. So we're very proud of that. But I think that's sort of just the main beginning of the story. I think what I would want you to know about us, besides the fact that we are embedded insurance on 3 continents in 30 countries, soon to be 31 when we launch in Japan later this year. When others talk about us and we don't talk about ourselves, here's what they say. Earlier this week, I had the pleasure in Singapore of receiving the award from Asia Insurance Review as Asia's #1 insurtech. So insurtech of the year for Voltec. About 2.5 weeks ago, on Sonar's InsurTech 100, which ranks the 100 most intriguing insurtechs in the world, we were ranked #5 globally, #1 in Asia. We were the youngest insurtech on the group, and we're also the ones who made the biggest jump. So last year we were ranked #55 in the world, and this year #5 in the world. There's a wonderful study that's been put out by a group called Aperture in Europe. And they do a great study on embedded insurance because this is such an interesting hot topic. I encourage everyone to read this report, a great study. But what I wanted you to know is that we're quite proud to have been named the #1 insurtech with respect to business model transformation when it comes to the space of embedded insurance. And let me tell you what that means. It means that we can help anyone who has a base of customers that could be well served by protection and insurance. We can help anyone access the product and access the capabilities to provide that protection to their insurance base, whether you are a traditional participant in the insurance market or not. So we work with other insurance companies, we work with telcos, we work with device manufacturers who, for example, manufacture your cell phone. We work with e-retailers and e-commerce players. We work with banks and non-banking financial institutions, but we work with a wide range of players in the business world who have customers who need protection and insurance. And our specialization is to bring that match between the customer need and the product supply, which comes from insurance carriers, to a very simple, user-friendly, technology-enabled match. And so we are, as I said earlier, an insurance exchange at our heart. So I'm going to pause there. I will gladly take questions about Boltec at any time, but thank you very much for inviting us to participate today.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Actually, any quick questions from the audience? You may type your question in the Q&A box. So far, I haven't seen any questions, but actually I can ask maybe just a quick follow-up question. One thing, Rob, was very impressive. Actually, even you are kind of relatively speaking young company, but your operation is already very, very global, which I would assume many, startup companies, that's their dream, to be able to scale up, operate in many regions, of the world. Maybe you can just have a quick kind of a reflection or share your thoughts about how, as a young company, you are able to operate in so many places, and what's the lessons and things like that.
Thanks for that great question, Roger. I'll start by saying that the insurance exchange that I described, where we've quoted $50 billion of premium across the last 12 months. That platform is built in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it was deployed first and foremost in the largest insurance market in the world, which is the United States. We learned a lot of lessons by deploying this in the US, but one thing we really understand, we understand that insurance is a global marketplace and that the need is a global need. And so we feel like the lessons we've learned in the United States can be carried over and shared across our today home market here in Southeast Asia, as well as in the European marketplace where we also operate. And our goal is to take all those great lessons and all those great partnerships that we've created in America and apply them in other parts of the world. But the reason that I live in Singapore, and I would encourage anyone who operates, for example, in Southeast Asia, you've got to live in Southeast Asia. So I have moved to one of the greatest countries in the world, Singapore. I love it here. And I have the opportunity to recognize how the regulation works, to recognize the differences between the behavior in the United States and the behavior in Southeast Asia and in this marketplace. And if you aren't willing to make this a local tailored product and a local tailored capability, then you're going to miss out, because it's not a one-size-fits-all marketplace. It's not a one-size-fits-all world. and everyone understands, but very few people really do, take the effort that it takes to make sure that you truly submerge yourself into the marketplace that you're trying to serve. And so the number one lesson that I've had was carry over great lessons from one place to the other, but don't assume that it's one size fits all. You've got to make this very unique and very tailored. Many other lessons, but I'll pause there in the spirit of time for my other colleagues on the call today.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, let me see. I don't think we have any questions from the audience. Okay, so let's kind of actually, Jim, do you want to have like a quick question for Rob or for Mitch? Because I saw you kind of have some message on the chat message.
Well, I think that Rob very much dealt with the question that I wanted to ask, which was basically, how do you think location has influenced your startup journey? And I think that was exactly Rob's answer. I mean, as I was asking that question, Rob was answering it. It was almost, it's the Philadelphia thing. I guess I would ask that of Mitch, the first presenter, if he's still available. How do you think that the location where, in the Philippines, how has that influenced your startup journey and made it different than it would be somewhere else?
Mitch, yeah, please.
So I think, yeah, I agree with Rob, right? So Southeast Asia is really different markets. It's one area, but different markets, right? So Singapore is very different from the Philippines. Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam are also very different, right? There are similarities, but you cannot have a one-size-fits-all type of product for each. You will have to do their tweaks. There are their idiosyncrasies for each market, and you have to adapt. So for us, we are a Philippines company for now. We haven't branched out to any other market. We're going deep within the fintech space. And in terms of where we are, regulations is also very different in each country. And that's a hurdle that every startup that wants to actually go out will need to look after. Okay,
thank you. Okay, so let's move on to our next speaker, actually Muhammad Indraputra from Indonesia. Actually, he goes by Didit, right? And Didit actually is a CFA, and also he's a very seasoned kind of professional in the sector of the private equity and investment banking. And right now he's the co-founder and CEO of Precuma, which is in a slightly different industry. It's not like a finance or insurance, rather it is the digital parenting ecosystem on child health and child growth development sector. So that's very, very different, but very interesting, important kind of a sector. So Didit, please take over and tell us your story.
Thank you very much, Roger, for the kind intro. Good morning for the peers in Asia, as well as good evening for those in the rest of the world. It's a pleasure for myself to share the panel with amazing leaders today from across the region. So just quick intro about myself. My name is Muhammad Indraputra, commonly known as Didit. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Primaku. I'd like to take this opportunity today to share with you a quick snapshot of the challenges with child healthcare in Indonesia and how Primaku is aiming to resolve it through our digital solutions. So if you don't mind, I have a quick presentation to share with you. Just a second. All right. So Primaku is basically the leading digital parenting ecosystem, and our aim is to help improve child healthcare and ensure excellent child growth and development in Indonesia. We provide a unified platform in the form of a mobile application that connects parents, pediatrics, as well as medical facilities. We strive to be the Google for parenting and make sure that first-time parenting is easy and worry-free for most parents. And we have an exclusive partnership with the Indonesian Pediatric Society and Ministry of Health. And currently, we have the largest active parenting community in Indonesia. And this gives us a unique positioning to serve the mother and kids industry, which is quite sizable at about 40 billion in Indonesia. I'd like to start with the challenge first, right? So Indonesia is a large country with a big population of children, approximately 75 million, with about 5 million children being born annually. Just to give you a bit of comparison, our annual birth count is about 1.5 times that of the US and almost 9 times of the UK. So it is a massive market. And yet it is also a main source of concern for Indonesians because our kids are lagging in many development-related metrics. As a start, at least 5 of 10 children are undernourished or stunted. 43% of children not reaching potential growth. More than 40% of children under-vaccinated. We have 5 times lower pediatric to parent count than the WHO's global standard. There is a rampant of unverified source of information regarding parenting, which led to a lot of misinformation. And finally, in terms of ranking, currently we are ranked 111 out of 189 countries in Human Development Index, whilst at the same time being a G20 country, right? So in summary, child healthcare is a concerning problem for Indonesians, and the government has stepped up and highlighted this as a key challenge in ensuring optimal demographic bonus when it peaks starting in 2030. So the government has identified many issues, one of which is basically the lack of parents' awareness, limited access to healthcare facilities, and third is basically the absence of integrated medical data infrastructure to help them properly track and monitor child health developments. This is basically the issue that Primaku is built to tackle through our community-based parenting ecosystem. And we are grateful that we have the exclusive support of the Indonesian Pediatric Society as well as the Ministry of Health in Indonesia. We help connect parents, pediatrics, healthcare providers, and at the same time, we also provide support for the government in giving access to child data transparency through our platform. For parents, Primaku basically serves as a one-stop solution for all of their parenting needs in every child development stages, from newborn until they reach 5 years and beyond. So for example, we provide tracking for their growth and development. We provide guidelines on nutrition. We provide immunization schedules and bookings, as well as community and verified content library. On the other side, we also enable pediatrics to provide the right care for children, while at the same time, we help grow their capability through our collaboration and analytics within our platform. And for the healthcare providers, we're fortunate to be considered as a partner of choice by multiple MNCs, including Pfizer, Novo Nordisk, and Danone, to name a few, and that basically have an interest to tap into the massive mother and kids category in Indonesia by leveraging Primaku's unique positioning and our credibility in the market. Being the pioneer of pediatric health tech in Indonesia, we have built the largest community of parents and pediatric. We're also present in 20 plus countries. This scale gives us an opportunity to help shape the industry along with the early disruptors and the government. And since our start in 2018, we're happy to announce that we have helped millions of parents and their kids. Furthermore, based on our Primaku Digital Child Health Report 2022, 97% of Primaku children saw improvement in their growth and development metrics and were able to avoid stunting. Due to our proven positive impact on child health in Indonesia, we have extensive public recognition by the media, by the Minister of Health himself, and even by global health experts, as we were highlighted during a United Nations Economic and Social Council on how Primaku is able to help improve child healthcare in Indonesia. So as a father myself, basically I always strive to provide the best for my kids, and Primaku has been my main support system. And this has also been the case for more than 1 million parents in Indonesia and beyond. So it is our pride and joy to be the go-to parenting app in Indonesia, but I think we are still scratching the surface. And we look to continue broaden our impact across the region to ensure a great future generation. Thank you very much. That's all for my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you, Didit. John, do you have a question that you want to ask Didit? Because you have a specific question, or you want me to ask?
You can ask it. I put it in the chat room. I can repeat it if you want.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Actually, John, maybe you can
Yeah,
elaborate
yeah,
to your question a little bit.
Yeah,
as
question
well.
for Primaku. This is a very outstanding effort to really solve a social health problems. And I was wondering if the government provided support for this worthy corporate initiative, and to the extent that it filled a gap and a need not met by the government.
Thank you, John, for the amazing question. So, yeah, definitely, I think we are fortunate in the sense that we help address a gap that the government is yet to fill in, and because of our unique positioning, there are many support given to us by local associations as well as the government to help ensure that the distribution and reach of our solutions is wide-ranging, not just for Indonesians, but hopefully for the region. So we're happy to see that many public-private partnerships are being done in the healthcare space to promote child healthcare in Indonesia, and we are happy to see that we are being participated by the government to help make that change. I hope that addressed your question, John.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe it did it. You know,
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. Question.
Please.
Are you spreading your wings throughout ASEAN countries, or are you confined to one country or proximate countries? Are you marketing elsewhere?
Well, to be honest, of course, we have aspirations to extend the solutions into the region as well. Currently, we're seeing that our solution has been implemented across 20+ countries, and but this has been done organically through the support of international associations that sees the benefit of having Primaku in their domicile. So, of course, our exposure through the UN forum helped expand the cost for Primaku to the use of this platform across various developing countries as well. But this is something that we haven't planned yet. I mean, like, this is something that has been growing organically. But of course, this is a mission that we want to bring forward going forward. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
So did it basically you're saying, you know, some of these kind of a cross-border operation is kind of organic. It's not part of your so-called official operation plan or strategies. But how active do you manage that? Or you just, you know, respond to these different requests in different countries or things like that?
Thank you, Roger, for that. So I think first and foremost, when we first built Primaku, it is with the intention of improving child healthcare in Indonesia. So our solution is truly localized for the Indonesian market. However, during our journey, we've realized that a lot of pediatric associations from the region has also reached out to us to see whether the solutions can be replicated to their markets. So we take it as an opportunity. But first and foremost, I think we want to make sure that we capture the Indonesian market, which is the core problem that we're seeing. It's a massive industry, it's a massive market, and we're starting to see some strides in our effort there. But eventually, we think that the solutions can be beneficial for for parents in other developing countries as well. And we look forward to cooperating with regional associations to help bring our costs beyond Indonesia.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because you want to kind of focus on the core market first. Okay, we got a very first question from the audience from Vivian. Actually, a question for Mitch. Oh, yeah, it's okay. You know, we still kind of because we got a time. So for Mitch, actually, the question, Mitch, are you there? Actually, this is from our colleague Vivian. She's also from Philippines, so that's why it makes sense. So her question basically, does the Philippines government provide a training program to push for entrepreneurship in the country? And how does the entrepreneurial ecosystem look like in Philippines?
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's where it's a little bit lacking, right? When it comes to, I guess, the government support for entrepreneurs, there's not a lot currently. I think the government can actually do a lot more. Today, they are trying to facilitate in terms of registrations with the DTI sort of fast lane to allow for entrepreneurs and companies to actually get registered. In the past, it would take easily 30 days to get your company registered. It's a little bit faster now, but in terms of getting funding and support, that's still a pain point for most entrepreneurs. Access to credit, especially for SMEs, is still very low, right? So if you look at the presentation or the slide I had in it, I think only about 4% of MSMEs have access to formal credit. So it's still fairly nascent in terms of basically government support. There's a lot of, I guess, private funding coming in the last few years, but still nowhere near what we see in Indonesia, Vietnam, or Singapore. So yeah, still a ways to go.
Okay, still way through. You know, actually, we got a second question for you, Mitch. You know, for somehow we are gaining the momentum for for your company. Actually, this one is from Francis. The question is more or less about a competition. Basically, the question says, how does your company, unicorn? How does a unicorn like Paymaya compete and differentiate or positioning yourself, differently from its competition when it is a quite competitive, at least 12, actually the question says 12 in the online payment sector in Philippines. In other words, you got a lot of competition. So then, both local and foreign, right? These competition, both local and foreign, and both fellow, also some of these competitors are unicorns as well, it's also more established in the marketplace. So in other words, actually, when you face such a, kind of strong competition from both local and foreign, and also they are well established, how do you kind of compete? How do you establish yourself? That's the question, Mitch.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the question. So I think it's really all about building your ecosystem, right? And a lot of the competitors are usually one-sided, whether they just focus on the consumer or they focus on banking or just banking, right? Or they focus on the enterprise side, right? So for Maya, we do bridge consumers and enterprises, and we are not closed loop. So on the enterprise side, we allow enterprises to accept all types of payments, whether that's credit cards, Chinese wallets, local wallets, any financial institution with QRPH, which has actually catapulted us to being number one in terms of the enterprise payments acceptance space. On the consumer side, it's blending basically digital banking with the wallet side of payments. Today, there are, I guess, digital banks that are just providing savings and soon credit to consumers. But on the payment side, it's actually very hard to pay, right? On the flip side, there are wallet players that are very good as well in payments, but do not provide an end-to-end ecosystem with regards to financial services. They do have partnerships, and that's okay. But you are dealing with two different companies, right? So it's not one company that you're working with as an all-in-one money app. So it's really building your moat as an end-to-end financial app. That is what we see as an opportunity and as a strength of Maya.
Okay, thank you, John. Actually, if I may I kind of put your question at the a question and answer section, and
Yes,
you know.
yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So now let's move on to let me close this. Now let's move on to our next speaker. Actually, Topp from Thailand is from Srupsrisopa. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Who has another very impressive company. He's actually the founder and the CEO of the group CEO of BitCup, right? Group Holdings. And you know, this is largest blockchain and digital asset group company in Thailand. And also actually Topp himself is a leading expert in the field. He is also the vice president and executive board members of Thai FinTech Association. So another very, very impressive executive in Thailand, especially in the FinTech or in the blockchain and you know, the Bitcoin space, which is very, very, you know, kind of a hot used to be in that space. Okay, Topp, so please.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Thailand. Thank you so much for inviting me to join the panel discussion today. A pleasure to meet you all. My name is Topp. I'm the founder of BitCup. We are the largest fintech company from Thailand. Thailand is a country with about 70 million population, and we haven't got a lot of unicorns yet. You know, we only have 4 unicorns recently. The latest one was announced a few months ago. But we are the only one from fintech. BitCup has been around for 4 years and 10 months now. A company of about 2,000 people. What is unique about BitCup is that we are only in one country. We are not a regional company yet, but we managed to grow and conquer fully the Thai market. We're in the digital assets and blockchain space. We're pretty much the biggest blockchain and cryptocurrency in digital assets group of companies in Thailand. We conquered 99% to 100% market share, even though there are quite a few players. But we are the de facto choice for customers here. We have right now about 10 companies under our group, but the core cash cow is the digital asset exchange company. We are fully regulated, fully licensed, and we also have our own blockchain called BitCup Chain with our own coin as its operating system. We have NFT marketplace. We have a third company creating an open education platform called BitCup Academy, creating the learn to earn model. We have BitCup Ventures to invest our own profit. The fund has only one LP, which is the holding company, to reinvest our profit into other startups. Last year, we invested 10 million Thai baht. This year, 100 million Thai baht, and hopefully we can increase going forward. We have, crypto mutual fund. We have 3 JVs with traditional large family businesses here. We partnered with the largest shopping mall group in Thailand. We turned the largest shopping mall, the top 2 floors, into a physical investment space to have a space for communities to share knowledge, to come in and trade. We have a merchandise corner. We have NFT physical gallery. And also we have a blockchain as a service. That's another JV for B2G contract. Um, and last year we did $200 million in revenue and $100 million in net profit. Yeah, so BitHub is very unique. We are the most profitable startup in the Thai startup history already. Thailand is quite a small country with $100 million net profit. And what is unique about BitHub is that we have no VCs. We only raised $10.7 million up to date, and we only used $3.2 million before we became profitable, and we have been running the company on profit since then. So no VCs, just angels, and we are only Thai-based, Thailand focused. And the reason why we believe that we need to focus one country by country is that we are operating in what we call a local monopoly business model, a winner takes all, winner takes most, not a global monopoly model like Facebook. We are more like the e-commerce type, where we will eventually have one winner that takes all per country, but not one winner per globally, like Facebook, where High Five and MySpace cannot coexist. We believe that we're in the local monopoly area where we need to sprint, blitz scale to conquer the market. And once we reach the equilibrium point of achieving the enough network effects and the economy of scale, it's really hard to beat us after that. So our strategy has been laser sharp focused in conquering one country at a time and achieving absolute scale and network effects before we move on to the next country, which is very different from other unicorns. So we have been focusing management attention in just one country. And what we believe the future would look like is the main market thesis here, that anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized in the future. Internet has already digitized all types of information into a digital format, and we believe that going forward, any types of value would be tokenized going forward. And the reason is very clear. Right now, Thailand is hosting APEC, and I attended Davos in May this year as well, and also regional meeting of World Economic Forum. All the business leaders are saying this one key message, one key thing, even the APEC this year in Thailand, sustainability, right? Net zero. And the world is emitting 52 billion tons of greenhouse gases emission per year. And even during COVID times, we stopped all the economic activities for 2 years, and we only cut down 2 billion of carbon emission, of gas emission. We still have 50 billion tons, and we need to get down to zero by 2030. Otherwise, the planet is not habitable, right? Inhabitable. And we found out that 26% of the 52 billion tons came from energy production, and people have been talking about fossil fuel reduction and wind and solar power, but those are only 26% reduction. We are looking at the other 74%, that they're accounted from other economic activities. So our belief would be that money will eventually not be paper-based for sure. Otherwise, the world cannot be sustainable. Eventually money would be digital, and the way we work, we need to change the way we work, the way we transact, the way we communicate, the way humans interact. So we believe that all types of value would be tokenized into a digital format. with the blockchain technology. Eventually, we can trade carbon credit. We can tokenize carbon credit and eventually find the standardization, global price, liquidity for global trade of carbon credit. We can eventually trade electricity. We need to tokenize the unit of account. We can trade FX. We need a global, local exchange to trade FX with this smaller spread, deeper liquidity, cut down intermediaries, deadbed loss, inefficiency in the system. We need to work in a more sustainable manner. We can tokenize digital bonds. We can tokenize equity. We believe that everything would be a subset of digital assets. And we can send value in the same manner that we have been sending information after the arrival of the internet, instant, frictionless, global. So that's why we're creating a physical capital, right? Physical infrastructure for the next wave of technology that we would be able to tokenize everything. To sum up quickly, I think in the next 10 years, Southeast Asian region would be attracting one of the highest investments in the world. And this is not based on my insights, but based on meeting with business leaders this year at Davos, at different regional meetings. And there'll be a change of supply chain, but we need to prepare three things before we can attract investment into the Southeast Asian region. First is a physical capital, but a new type, not just internet connectivity or digital IDs, or telephone or smartphones, but we also need new types, new generations, like digital asset exchange is another type of physical capital. And the second thing that we need to prepare for the next decade is human capital. We need to prepare a new set of skills. When the world is changing so fast, humans are living longer. We used to work for 30 years, now we have to work for 50 years because on average, human lifespan is working longer. We need to fix the pre-distribution of education and how do we get education in a more affordable, democratization of affordable manner, democratization of education by bringing in digital technology, digital platform, and also natural capital. So pretty much BitCup is trying to prepare these three infrastructures for Thailand: physical capital, human capital, and natural capital. And our main belief, our main market thesis would be that anything that can be tokenized will eventually be tokenized. Thank you.
Okay, Topp, we got several questions. Maybe one question, actually, I know my assistant just felt it's been answered, but I think I'm going to repeat that question anyway. And also, beside this question from the audience, John, our kind of colleague from Georgia Tech, also had two questions. But anyway, let me kind of just quickly repeat this question from the audience, which says, thank you actually for asking this question, which says, do you think that operating in the crypto space has made it easier for you, given the tightness of the venture capital in Thailand? What's your kind of a thought on that question?
Yes, we were fortunate in many ways. First of all, there has been a lack of funding in Thailand because most of the VCs overlooked this region in the past. Over the past 10 years, the main destinations of investment used to be were the US, China, India, Europe. Southeast Asian region is a distant mile away from the attention of investors. And even when they look at the Southeast Asian region, people would be eyeing Vietnam, not Thailand. So with the lack of funding as one factor, but there are many factors. So it was very hard to bootstrap and create a unicorn. And also the market size in Thailand is another factor. For us, we were, as I said earlier, BitCup is very unique. We only raised $10.7 million dollars, and we only used $3.2 million to build a $1 billion company. Right? We did 100 million revenue and 100 million net profit last year, and this year we are also very profitable. This year we are also profitable in a world that is heading towards a recession. Right? So we were fortunate that we were able to run on cash, run on profit, because we operated in the crypto space. We were fortunate also that no one believed in cryptocurrency 8 years ago, meaning that we were the minority that was right about Bitcoin, about something that the majority were wrong. So we have this huge, advantage, because we were able to conquer the Thai market. If the banks or the stock exchange of Thailand had the same belief, we would not be able to conquer the market with $3.2 million, right? So we were the minority that was right, where we found this important truth, whereas the majority of the people were wrong. So that's the second, I think, factor, and the third is the regulation also. There are benefits and costs to being regulated, right? Being regulated on the downside, it increases our compliance cost so much, and we cannot innovate as fast, or we cannot move fast and break things like Facebook and other startups. But at the same time, it fends off competition. Right? You have been in this space for 5 years. BitCup. There are only 7 companies that are legally allowed to operate, and without being regulated or having a proper license giving out by the Thai SEC, we would not be able to achieve or have enough time to achieve this network effect or economy of scale. So I think being in crypto at the right time, I think the key success is the right timing, and then the right team. Be in the right country. It's not one size fits all. If we were born in another country, I don't think we would make it with our background. Right? We didn't raise any funding from any institutions or VC. We were quite blessed in many ways. And we were right with our strategy to focus one country at a time and not go global or regional like other unicorns at day one, because we believe in this local monopoly effect of our business, which is different from other business models. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Topp. John, in considering of time, maybe can you pick just one question, because you listed 2. You can pick one question, and then we can move, if we have time, can move your other question to the Q&A section.
Sure. Yeah, of course, the question is to Topp. What would be the most likely next country in the region you might be interested in? And I think you might have answered it in your comments, but I'm not going to guess what it might be. I'm just asking you rather.
Sure. Thank you, John. I was so fortunate to have met with a lot of global leaders this year at global events, and all of them said the same thing, that in the next 10 years, Southeast Asian region is going to be the #1, destination for investments. So we're not looking somewhere far from where we are. We are eyeing Southeast Asian region for expansion. And we also believe in this local monopoly model. So we won't go into a country where there is a clear winner already. We don't like to have this bloodbath, burning cash, deep pocket strategy, fighting war. We would prefer to work with a country where there's no regulation yet. We make good strong relationship with the regulators from day one, help them set up, draft local regulation, localize, local regulations, lessons learned from Thailand, be the first, preferred platform from day one with the customers, and achieve and running the sprint, not the marathon, sprint per country to achieve the required network effect right away. So we are eyeing like CLMV within the CLMV countries within the Southeast Asian region as our next expansion market. We have already conquered the Thai market. We have 4.5 million customers now, which may seem small for some of you guys, but Thailand is a small country. We have only 70 million population. 4.5 million is quite a scale. To put this in a perspective, we have the same number of customers as the Thai stock exchange. They've been around for 50 years, and last year we made more profit than the Thai stock exchange. Wow. And more traffic's entering our website as well. So we are the top number one website in the country in terms of traffic. So we are already big, considering our size as Thailand as a small country. So we can proudly say that we have conquered, achieved the monopoly power already in Thailand, and our next phase is to expand into CLMV, but not to a country where there is a clear winner already.
It couldn't be Vietnam, could it?
John, what did you say?
It couldn't be Vietnam, could it?
Vietnam. Oh, by the way, I just came back 2 weeks ago. In the next 2 years, Vietnam's GDP would exceed Thailand already. Yeah. They are kind of no debt, younger generation of workforce, very healthy. But for crypto, they are following China, so not as friendly.
Okay.
But I would other founders or entrepreneurs to look at Vietnam. They're gonna keep growing at 7. They're gonna be like the Pudong area of Shanghai, from garden to the biggest financial districts, in just 20 years. China achieved miracle growth in the last 20 years. And I think Vietnam is doing the same in the next 10 years.
Thank you. Insightful. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, actually, Topp. So now let's move on to our last speaker, actually, Shu. Actually, she's slightly unique, different, because she's not based in Southeast Asia. Rather, she's from Silicon Valley, right? And so Sue, actually, you had a great, very, very impressive investment kind of a career background, and also you were even served as interim CEO of this company, Candy House, and our site, C, right? Site C. And also you are very, very kind of active in invest in lots of kind of early stage company, 260s. And many of them actually become quite successful. Among these 15 are unicorns, and 30 companies reached valuation of more than $100 million kind of a dollar. So it's a very, very impressive kind of a investment perspective. So it would be very interesting to hear your view about Southeast Asia, unicorns, and also your assessment of that. Maybe also bring some US or Silicon Valley angle to it. Okay, thank you, Sue.
Thank you so much, Professor Roger Chen. And then this is really great panel. And then I actually learned a lot. And so first of all, I wanted to congrats the 4 speakers, Maya, Botek, Bicop, and Primaku. So I found you guys extremely humble, but to me, you are extremely brave and successful already. So I found that Professor Roger Chen chose very interesting, entrepreneur. And so all this for all you guys are in fintech and healthcare. To me, is they are kind of similar in a way because they are both very highly regulated industry, but most likely to be disrupted by digitalization and AI and blockchain. So I think for social, mobile, local, like SOMO era, and then they were not be able to disrupt it, fintech and healthcare, because you all heard that Google Health, they wanted to use internet, they wanted to use social media product to actually put your healthcare record there. So I think the US FDA and hospital have a really, really big pushback. So, but AI has a chance because it just works. And so because of the success of you guys, and then I think a lot of the, US investors actually want to do it again. So that's why, for the last 4 years, and then we actually invest a lot of companies in Southeast Asia and in Singapore, and a lot of them actually business model are more like what happened already in the US and China, and it will happen again in Southeast Asia, especially, Rob from, Botech. You mentioned that, you're from the Valley, and then you can bring that kind of tech, know-how to Southeast Asia. So I think that's totally work, especially in fintech. You don't have to have the whole world. And then, like Chime Bank. So we were angel investor of Chime Bank. So one of the, from a couple $1 million to now 25 billion, and then you can be a unicorn, and they only have the US. So so you can be totally local, and then you can actually serve the underserved very well, and then you can be a unicorn. And you really don't have to be Facebook or Google to actually conquer the whole world, because their business model is different. With like Google, the second year of Google, because our founder, Dr. Hui-Ken Chu, he actually joined Google year 2000. And I think like once he joined Google, Google already have 2 million ads revenue per day. So it's totally different business model. But no matter what you're doing, and then you feel you're the brave and very successful entrepreneur, it's exactly what's going on and how much money you're making. So you are definitely doing the right thing. And so for Amino, we actually, as Professor Roger Chen mentioned, we actually very lucky that out of our almost 300 companies, and we have about 20 unicorns. And we were very lucky that we actually early stage we joined pre-ICO of the first ICO unicorn, which is OmniGo in 2017. And then I think this company definitely based in Thailand, and the Thailand is a very interesting place. I really like Thailand because it's very international. So if you go to Thailand, before we invested in OmniGo actually in 2017, and at the pre-ICO price $15 million, and then when A1 ICO, nobody back then will know whether ICO will work, right? So that's why their pre-ICO price is so low. But once they actually did the ICO, it was actually $1 billion, after 6 months. And that was actually amazing and triggered the ICO kind of like hype and mania. So which is not necessarily a good thing, but you can think of this ripple effects, and something happened in Thailand can actually create this crypto hype all around the world, including mainland China and the OMG point, right? So it was popular thing. It was everywhere in China. So we kind of enjoyed that. But in the meantime, we felt like, okay, so this company from 15 million to 1 billion, real utility is still the same. So we felt like a little bit overhyped. And then we started to liquid. But Thailand is very interesting. Before we invested in OmniGo, we actually had a company in Silicon Valley acquired by Agoda, which is based in Thailand, which owned by Booking.com. And then I actually visited them. I felt like it's very international. And then the founder, or actually OmniGo's founder was from Japan. Dream is from Japan, but the team is from everywhere, from Russia, from Ukraine, from Taiwan, from Thailand, from everywhere in Southeast Asia and the globe and the whole greater Southeast Asia. So I think that's very, very important as the founder of Big mentioned. I felt like I agree with you. The reason is in Silicon Valley, I felt like it's still, because we're based in Silicon Valley, we're based in Palo Alto, and then we actually invested a lot of them, because our founder, I was previously work at Stanford, and 2 of our founder joined Google year 2000, and we wanted to invest the next Google and next Facebook. So our investment theme has been data, and data as a mode over time, but you wanted to have also network effect to grow because you're small. So if you wanted to grow very fast, and you definitely wanted to have this growth hacking type of thing, which is network effect. So that's why our success has been falling into 3 different categories. One is consumer. And then as we mentioned, we were angel investor of Chen, which is very similar with what Maya has been doing. And also nowadays in Silicon Valley, all investors want to invest in PLG SaaS, product like SaaS, a product like growth SaaS, which we are angel investor of Webflow, Zoom, and Rippling. And the third category, I actually grew Frontier Tech together with Web3. The reason is for Web3, especially layer 1, even though you don't have a real killer app, you don't have utility. However, you have a very clear, you have the best team in the whole world. You have a lot of code in the GitHub, and also you have the best, you also have a very clear route to actually achieve liquidity, either IPO or ICO or direct listing. So thanks to what GitHub and a lot of other exchange or wallets. So so we actually put them into 3 categories. That's the most successful companies. And so for us, we felt like, even though we actually based in Silicon Valley, is still we believe that the innovation hub, the hotbed for innovation. However, we are following the talents. And nowadays we felt like there is a lot of extremely successful talents. And then from Stanford, from Google, from MIT, and then they want to start a company in Southeast Asia, and we follow them. So that's why we actually invested so many companies in Southeast Asia in the last 4 years, and including Omisi Go, right? And Omisi Go, the reason why we got into Omisi Go is also through network, because back in 2014, we started to invest in crypto. We were the angel investor of Dfinity, and then so back then, it was downturn for blockchain and nobody cared. And then we got the seed round of Dfinity in 2014 and the Series A of Dfinity at 2016. And so we actually, advocating for blockchain because we really fancied about the technology of Bitcoin. And we thought that's a great experiment for blockchain. And then since 2014, we started to invest in 3 categories of blockchain. One is layer 1, because it's fat protocol, right? So we invest in layer 1. And the second category of blockchain, we invested in application and like 0x, or which is decentralized exchange, and also ocean protocol and such kind of thing. And the third category is something like a GitHub, right? So we really admire exchange, and then exchange analytical tools like and also wallets, and now like something like Web3. So something like in Silicon Valley, and all investors are kind of like very interested in Web3 type of SaaS. So a lot of the brands and Fortune 500 companies, they want to get into NFT, and they need tools, and those tools are actually nowhere to find. And then what happened in Web 2 is going to happen in Web 3, but totally different format, totally different kind of like user experiences. So we are still laser focusing on the talents and based in Silicon Valley. And then we actually have incubator in Stanford and Harvard. So we invest a lot of first check into them. And so we follow those talents. And then so in 2014, we wanted to be the cool kids. And then we actually started Blockchain University, and Vitalik was actually teaching. And he really liked Omisi Go. So through him, we actually got to know Omisi Go, and then we invest in Omisi Go based in Thailand. And so there was a lot of reason why Southeast Asia is booming to us, even though we are based in downtown Palo Alto, and we feel like, there is a lot of talents going back to not just Thailand, but also like the Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam. So we give them a chance. And in the meantime, instead of just, we felt like, oh my gosh, instead of local Southeast Asian investors, there are new capital from Silicon Valley pouring into Southeast Asia. The main reason for us is the trust in the founders, who we already know very well. We know them so well. And so other reasons, I think the US dollar fund in Greater China right now is also looking into alternative, especially in fintech, consumer internet, because that's what they were good at in Greater China, but there is no innovation almost like in China anymore. So Southeast Asia is definitely a very good destination for them as well. And I think for, similar to Topp from B Cup, right? So I think there was 3 pillars of the successful kind of like environment for Silicon Valley, which is tech giants. Silicon Valley, we have, you name it, right? Like Google, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And that Southeast Asia has that. Yes. And then as Maya bought tech, B Cup and Prima Cool, and then you started to have, tech giants. And the second pillar is capital. So, Silicon Valley has 40% of the US venture capital firms, GPs. And, I have a lot of friends recently just flew from Super Return Singapore, right? So there is like, I heard that, for there's a lot of reason, and for immigration reason, for a lot of reason, and a lot of people park their money in Singapore and investing locally, and also in India, Southeast Asia, and Australia, so including Japan and Korea. So I think it's very interesting because, when you care, as one of the speakers said, if you really wanted to invest and start a company in Southeast Asia, you have to live there. And then you care about the region. So I think that's why a lot of the people, they physically move to Singapore, and then they care about the region. And then they actually invest a lot of money into the local companies. So yes, Southeast Asia has capital. And third, talents. A lot of people said, oh, okay, so we are actually, at Stanford. So is it because of the Stanford? No, it's actually because of the tech giants and the money. And then Stanford is not even Ivy League. And Stanford actually become a very good school because of Silicon Valley. So I think most of the talents are actually from the tech giants. As Amino, we actually invest in a lot of ex-Google, Zuckerberg's company, people that from Facebook, especially from Twitter, such, and LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn has really good data scientists. And LinkedIn and Twitter, for some reason, because their business model is not very good, so they don't have a lot of ads revenue, even though they're so much thriving, in their own field, but they have difficulty to have ads revenue. So, but the engineers and data scientists from these 2 companies are very good. And will Southeast Asia has talents? Absolutely. I think because such kind of like tech giants, so many unicorns, coming up in Southeast Asia, working at Maya, just as cool as working at the Chen in San Francisco, just as cool as working at the Google and Facebook, even better, because you work at the unicorn company and then you have better upside. So I always recommend unicorn company to my mentees at Stanford or Harvard, so instead of Google and Facebook. So I think you have talents, you have capital, and also you have tech giants. And I totally agree with the founder of B Cup that in the next 5 to 10 years, I truly agree that the Southeast Asia will be thriving and even better. So definitely will actually allocate more money. But I believe that most of the venture firm in Silicon Valley was still kind of like under allocating their money in Southeast Asia. So we definitely were actually, trying to actually hire more people. I'm very fortunate that I have one team member based in Singapore. And so that's one of the things I really wanted to mention. But for fintech, we actually believe that, there are a lot of, because it's a highly regulated industry, and there is payment, banking, because of the uprising of e-commerce in Southeast Asia. E-commerce is one of the other very important portfolio that we have in Southeast Asia. Because of the uprising of e-commerce, I think, and the wild adoption buy now, pay later by all major players in the industry, I think funding has increased dramatically as a result of increasing number of late stage deals. And also, neobanking, corporate bank card, we actually invest a couple companies in Southeast Asia, India, and digital lending. Of course, InsurTech is definitely, the needs for tech-enabled claims handling have been emphasized by high-profile, insurance houses loses the year, including, a lot of really interesting claims for businesses, right? So all this type of innovation, I think for fintech, it is definitely ready to be disrupted. So, well, definitely, people take advantage. Why? Because, a company like neobanking, right? So their compensation, their engineering employment compensation is so different than traditional banking. 70% of their employees are engineers, and engineers are makers, and they are very much respected. And then they just, they can actually take advantage of data, and then they can snowball their data and make personalized, banners, ads, A/B testing. It's just, you name it. So of course they're growing faster, right? And they're irritating their products so fast. And during pandemic, all those governments check. And then if traditional banking, you can't even go there. Like people, during pandemic, physically, you can't go to a bank. But in China, they can just create a product, and you just one click of a button, your request is submitted. So this is how, digitalization and AI can do for highly regulated industry like fintech. And so for the same thing, right? For Definity, for internet computer, for for Web3. I mean, in Silicon Valley, if you are a fund, you totally just focusing on CFI, centralized finance, you can still do very well. You don't have to invest in DeFi. However, if you actually care, I think, for Web3, there is like so many different kind of utility that you can actually work on. And I think, it's extremely important to actually learn, what's coming next. And I think the best entrepreneurs right now, they are actually fearless. And we are working closely with people at Stanford, people at Google, and then they are doing great things. And they are already thinking of the next generation of DeFi, next generation of lending, and next generation of, kind of like this more secure, because right now DeFi is not very secure and very easy to be attacked by hackers. And recently we have good friends, his DeFi got hacked, and he got all the blame, but it wasn't him, right? So security is so important in terms of DeFi, and also token economics so important. So we definitely, super laser focus on helping people to actually, find the next generation of DeFi, especially during the downturn of everything. People that we respect and invest, because we are all weather fund, long-term fund, so we still invest very active and even more active than before. So because anybody who wanted to start a company during the downturn, they must have something. They know exactly what their users want. Their user needs them. So of course they want to start their company to serve their user. Very simple. And but we also like hype, because hype is solve the supply demand problem, right? So for VC, we need the supply. So yeah, so basically that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Actually, it's very, very interesting. I don't know, actually, because we are a little bit kind of over time, but, let me kind of first to share with you, we got several questions for you, if you don't mind. Let me, kind of first to share with you the question from, let me see, from Xiaohua, actually, my colleague, and also the organizer committee member, which is also a very important theme of this question. That's why I think I want to ask that. Basically, the question is, with the boom in Southeast Asia, how can U.S. companies leverage the rising opportunities, which I think is a very, very important part of the, kind of a discussion point of this webinar. And Xiaohua said she didn't see a lot of investment from Silicon Valley tech firms seeking opportunities in Southeast Asia. How to interpret this lack of interest? Lack of awareness? Is that because of lack of awareness, or Southeast Asia is not attractive to these Silicon Valley companies? And so, yeah, what's your kind of view, Sue, about the awareness, the interest of Silicon Valley companies in Southeast Asia?
Oh yeah, I think well, we are definitely not that kind of firm. So we really. I think we follow the talents. We definitely follow the talents. So it was unheard of that so many people that actually went back to Southeast Asia these days, just like people did in China, right? That was like the last 30 years. But now there is so many people went back, and then are they successful? I actually happen to check the background of the speakers, and then they all have U.S. experiences, right? So. And then they went back to Southeast Asia. And then if you look at the very successful company, one of the, it's called ULA. And this company was in Indonesia, and it was an e-commerce company, and they're a $1 billion company. And Bezos actually investing in them. Jeff Bezos investing in them, right? So the founder actually from Amazon, and those two Indian founders from Amazon, and then I think he also maybe did his Wharton MBA and then Stanford master student. And this is exactly people that we know, we trust in Silicon Valley. This is typical profile. Okay. I mean, even though they want to invest in. Even though they want to start a company in the Valley, I wouldn't invest in them. We invest in people at the early stage. And another company called GoTo, right? So they are the largest IPO in the whole year of 2020. And so the founder were actually, I think the founder were previously at the Harvard Business School, HBS. So this is the type of founder that you would invest. So I think definitely, this is actually what's happening right now. So we just have to really look closely, and then I think we are definitely very interested in investing more.
Okay, thank you. We got two questions from audience. Let me very quickly maybe mention one question, which also for you, Sue. The question is, how do you choose companies to invest in? Do you target companies in certain sectors, or do you follow a specific market entry strategy?
I think, first of all, we actually very much interested in the people. So as early stage, we invest in team and the vision. So as you just mentioned, both are very important. So it has to be very interesting sectors, like in Southeast Asia, there are recently 35 unicorns, and 76% from Indonesia and Singapore. So in terms of sector, 26% in fintech, and 20% in e-commerce, and 11% in logistics. So those are the consumer internet. And those are the things that actually happened before in the US and China. So if the infrastructure, you need people to actually open accounts. So those are the infrastructure for consumer internet. And those will be the first wave of unicorns. And then we are actually targeting these three areas.
Okay, Thank you. Yeah, in considering the time, probably I would like to maybe give the other speakers, if you are still here, the final word you would like to share with the audience. Let me see. Thank you. Actually, maybe I look at my screen top. Do you have any kind of final advice for the audience regarding, relating to the theme of our webinar?
My advice is, if you want to enter the Southeast Asian region, it's not one size fits all. We have to understand the local market, local culture, local infrastructure very well. For example, in Thailand, social banking is not winning the market here. It's actually mobile banking, and the reason is because of these statistics, right? Internet penetration is 70% in the country. Most people get access to the internet. We are a smartphone nation. 144%, 1.4 phones per Thai customer. We have more phones than people here. Urbanization, and also banks are very good at providing bank accounts to customers. We are only second to Singapore. This made us, the top country for mobile banking, not social banking. I read it in the news the other day that Thailand is number 3 now in terms of transaction on mobile banking in the world. So we need, my advice would be to study the country, the culture. It's not one size fits all. And also, unfortunate or sad truth about this region is that it's military run, CRMV. So once you build a company to a certain size, beyond its startup, scale up phase, when you have a lot of impact to a lot of people, it's very important to know the right people. You know who. You have to not just scaling the technology, but scaling the backing and the people. And it's more on.
Thank you.
But that's the truth. You have to know the right people in this region. It's very different. The rules of law is different. It's not the rules of law, the transparency, the corruption level is not the same as in the West. So that's another sad but important truth. If you're building a sizable business already in this region. Thank you.
Thank you, Topp. That's a surprising but very, very good advice. Okay, Didit, you got a quick, do you have a quick final word for the audience? Didit, yeah, please.
Sure. So I guess quite similar to what the other panels have mentioned. I think it is critical to have a hyper-local approach, and we need to appreciate the diversity in terms of culture, ethnicities in the region. And again, echoing a bit of what Topp has mentioned, I think one of the things that has made Perimaku quite successful in Indonesia is that we understand the local landscape very well. So we are able to position ourselves and really leverage not only the government, but also the public sector to support our initiative, right? We're coming in as a collaborative platform to help improve the child healthcare in Indonesia. So, unique positioning and knowing the players is also very critical. So, yeah, I think that's all I want to add. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mitch, I look at the screen, Mitch, the next one, do you have any final, quick final keyword for the audience, advice?
Yeah, so I think now is the right time to actually enter Southeast Asia. There is a lot of, I guess, startups, digitization is already there. Funding is what's lacking for most countries. There is a wealth of opportunity within the inefficiencies that we see in every market, right? So I guess if you guys have any opportunities to enter any of the markets, you actually should, right? I think Sue also did a few investments already in Southeast Asia, and it's been proven to be good ones. yeah, so I think now's the perfect time to come in.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not sure if, is Rob still here from Singapore? Yeah, probably he dropped out. Okay, Sue, you got the last word. Quickly, quick,
Yeah,
short
so-
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, so we actually invest in early stage. So we definitely are really passionate about bringing more startups and talents to Southeast Asia. That's what we do, and then we help them. And all this, panels could be my resources to help those entrepreneurs to actually become local. And then in the meantime, we do actually help those companies, big or small, for their recruiting. Because we actually have a lot of talents, like people work at Amazon, or because we have unique model, because we have 80 limited partners who are executives of VP engineering at the tech giants in Silicon Valley. So we have a big pool of talents, and they are actually looking into moving to Singapore and Southeast Asia, especially those people that actually on the side, for different reasons. Some of them, AI data scientists at Amazon, they actually made a lot of money on the side through crypto. They wanted to move to Singapore, and they're looking for opportunities. So I'm so happy to actually join this panel, and then definitely wanted to, look forward to, for the, next Mingle organized by Professor Roger Chen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I want to thank everyone actually for this great panel. Actually, sorry, we are kind of run over a little bit. So I would like to kind of, with this a great thank you note, we would like to conclude this panel. So maybe Xiaohua or John or James, you would like to have say a few words to conclude this entire webinar.
John will say the final words, but I just want to thank everyone, all the speakers, and for the wonderful talk and insights. And I think that we have achieved what we set out to achieve. One is to provide our audience with all these wonderful stories and insights. The second is how, be a platform for you to find partnerships, for future business. John, go to you now.
Yes, indeed. First-class panel, full of insights, full of guidance for future entrepreneurs and unicorn creators. Very grateful to all of you. Great to work with the University of San Francisco, from Atlanta to San Francisco, looking at Asia. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Come and visit us in Atlanta. You will discover a techno-entrepreneurship environment that will surprise you.
And you can tour the whole continent. Start from come to San Francisco, then tour all the way to Atlanta. We'll be
Business
very
School
happy to host.
right in the heart of what is called Tech Square, which is the beating heart of technology entrepreneurship in Atlanta and in Georgia.
Yeah, John, I learned this last night from your colleague. It was very impressive. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
you.
John, Jim, and Roger. Beautiful job.
Yeah.
And
Also want to
great-
thank all the speakers again. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Appreciative, thanks. Grateful. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Great working with you.